All right, so welcome back to the third P&E video, Politics and Elections. You know, the three of us, we cover elections around the world and in the United States. And for those of you who don't know us, we're just going to introduce ourselves real quick. Andrew, you want to start off, or Chris, you want to start off?
Hi, I'm Christian Gomez, and I'm a first semester freshman at USD.
Hey guys, my name's Andrew Forgerini, and I'm a first year student at University of San Diego. Just completed my first semester. Looking forward to my second semester.
And then I'm Javier Marquez. I go to Cal State University Long Beach, unlike these two gentlemen. But we still, talk about the stuff that interests us. I just finished my first semester and I'm looking forward to my second semester and almost a first year student. So looking forward to it.
All right. So, what are we going to be covering in this video? The Taiwanese elections and also a bit about the US presidential election amid the Iowa caucuses.
Yep. And then also we might project, see how the trends are for the primaries and the general election in November. We'll also project some of that. Yeah,
Sounds
I
good.
guess. Yeah, I guess should we start off with the Taiwanese election, or do you want to start off with the Iowa caucus?
Suppose the Taiwanese election.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. I'm gonna just pull up what I have for the Taiwanese election. Hold on. There we go. All right. So we're gonna look here. Now, just a rundown of it is that Lai Ching-te, with the ruling party, the Democratic Progressive Party, won plurality of the votes. He was the vice president, and he's now going to become the president of Taiwan. All right, you guys have anything like also other stuff that we can talk about the election?
Oh, well, in this Taiwanese election, something interesting is that Taiwan mostly was ruled by a strong dictatorship. This is their only eighth election in their history. So there are two main political parties. We have the center left pro-democracy party, so to say, which is the party that won these elections, and then you have the loyal opposition, the conservative party, which is the China, which if you go KMT means like something about the Chinese. The Kuomintang is like the nationalist party of China. So the other party supports making Taiwan part of China, while the DPP supports Taiwanese independence. Let's not forget that Taiwan is the only country in the world that speaks Chinese that is a democracy, that is an actual democracy. And what we see in this map is that most like what we see in the whole world is like mostly those cities in Taiwan voted for the DPP, while the rural areas that where a lot of elders live that remember the dictatorship voted for the party that supports the dictatorship and making Taiwan part of China again. But at the end, there was more votes in those populated areas rather than the main like rural areas where the farms are.
Yeah, so like again, it's on like a township or I guess precinct. A lot of DPP and also like Christian, you're saying the urban areas, younger voters, more cosmopolitan. I would venture a guess to that. Um, more DPP, but yeah.
I think it's important to note, even though the presidential election has been settled, it's important to take a look at the legislature and that election because those results are less clear. And it looks like the Taiwan People's Party, the third party alternative to the two major parties, will truly be in a position to be kingmaker.
Let's see.
Yeah, so the legislative election, yeah, they were held the same way they were held 2 days ago. So I guess we're still looking for that, but it looks like the DPP has a plurality of the seats. They have 69, two general seats, two Aboriginal seats, and then Kuomintang is second. Yeah, so yeah, out of 309. So we'd have to see like what kind of kind of coalition building might have to happen if, if what's his name? If Lai Ching-te is going to be able to get stuff done in his Congress, he'll need to have a good what's it, caucus, not caucus, a coalition.
Yeah, and it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how the Taiwan People's Party will decide which party they will support and what potential legislation could come as a result of their choice.
Yeah. So just real quickly, the Taiwanese People's Party is, yeah, like Christian and Andrew, you're saying third party. Their ideology is social liberalism, civic nationalism, and populism debated. So they might be a little bit more populist. Democratic Progressive Party is more, it's more like establishment. They do believe in the same thing like social liberalism, progressivism, but Taiwanese nationalism, like Christian, you were saying, they want their independence and also anti-communism. Kuomintang is basically, yeah, the conservative and the basically, China is united, but under, I guess, Taiwan is like they see like Taiwan is like the actual China and not the mainland one. So those are the three main parties. Two center left ones, one center right. So we'll have to see if People's Party and Progressive Party can potentially form a coalition. But it doesn't look like it just because 10 and 69, like that's only 79 out of 309. So we'll just have to see on if the other parties, and I'll keep in mind the others and the independents, 65 seats independent, 72 others. So we'll have to see where those others and the independents lie much. Yeah.
Kind of funny how
What's up?
kind of funny how the Democratic Progressive Party is the anti-China party, considering it's more left-leaning than the Kuomintang, the Chinese Nationalist Party. When you see Republicans in the United States taking a more clearly defined anti-China stance, yes, the Democrats and President Biden have been taking a clear anti-China stance as well, but still you see it more pronounced within the Republican Party.
I think that the main reason why that happens is because Taiwan was already governed by a dictatorship, like a Chinese dude years ago. So the conservatives in Taiwan are the ones that the word says is to conserve, like to keep things as they are. If they were already governed by a dictatorship, a Chinese dictatorship, and then this democratization way comes into the country, if you're a conservative in Taiwan, you think you want things to go back the way that they were. You want the stability of China if you are a conservative in Taiwan. The thing is, in America, we were never governed by the Chinese. And our independence happened a lot of years ago. I mean, you don't see Republicans saying, let's go and unite with Britain again or something like that. But in this case, it's very recent that Taiwan was being controlled by a dictatorship, which was a Chinese. So it makes sense. The conservatives in Taiwan want to recreate that order of China owning Taiwan, while those liberals want to have their own independence and creating their own nation of Taiwan.
Yeah, and then also the other thing to keep in mind is that the Kuomintang basically wants. So basically, there's two Chinas by each country. So the People's Republic is like the mainland China. Mainland China thinks that, and they're the communists. They think they own Taiwan, but the Kuomintang thinks that, which is center right, they think that they own mainland China. So basically it's that's kind of what we mean by like unification and like one China. It's that the Kuomintang thinks they own mainland China thinks they own Taiwan. Yeah, but that's kind of it. See, yeah, so the election marked the first time since 2004 that no party held an absolute majority in the legislative yuan. TPP's support was crucial in the selection of the president of basically the presiding officer of the legislative yuan.
Like the Speaker of the House.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, we have here like so 113. So there's 113 seats, not 309.
Yeah.
Or I don't know which is one this is.
Isn't that the Senate?
Um, let's see. I I can't really, I don't know if I can translate that right now, but I would wait, which is this? I think it's the legislative yuan. So yeah, it's the yuan. So yeah, as you can see here, pretty divided. I mean, it's kind of the Kuomintang and the Democratic Progressive Party have basically the same amount of uh, power, but it comes down to the Taiwan People's Party and the Independents or the other. So I see. So if there's 113 total seats here, um, Taiwan People's Party has 59 to Kuomintang's 52. So
And they need 57 for a majority.
yes. So in that case, yeah, People's Party and Democratic Progressive Party, both center-left parties, they would need to form a coalition in order to advance the incoming president's agenda. But then, as you see here, like the change, so Kuomintang they experienced a lot of success in the last elections, gaining 14 seats. Progressive Party not doing so well, and they lost 10 points. So earlier, I guess before the elections, they had a majority, but now they're in a position where they need to form a coalition. See, so unless we have anything else to comment about the legislative election in Taiwan or the presidential election in Taiwan.
I mean, I believe that finally, like a last thought about this is that it is good for the United States that the Democratic Party over there won, because now we know that they will not be like that friendly towards China. Like they're going to be more friendly towards U.S. policy and our relations with us, rather than if the conservatives had won over there, they may be willing to make like an agreement with China, and that would not benefit us in the international arena.
It's a good insight into kind of how the relations between Taiwan and the United States.
Yeah, of course, we'll need to keep an eye on what happens with the legislature, as that could upend any support for U.S. policies this newly elected president will have.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just a success in Taiwan, at least for the presidential election, for relations between the United States and Taiwan. Still have to keep an eye on the legislative elections. So I guess the next thing we can talk about is the Iowa caucus.
Yes.
Okay, so it Christian.
So the race.
Yeah, they were very quick to call it, I have to say. Yeah. Uh Project that Donald Trump wins the Iowa caucus. They only went like half an hour in and they called the election for Trump.
Yeah, and 2% of votes in.
Yeah, that's like I mean that is kind of like California in each presidential election. Like as soon as the votes start coming in, they reject California goes Democratic. I guess yeah, 2% of votes in. Nikki Haley said, "Oh,
What?
we're gonna have to keep a close eye on DeSantis and Haley because early
Yes.
just now before it got updated, Haley was in second place, but now Ron DeSantis is 531 votes, 514 votes, very very close between those two. So clearly Trump is gonna win, but we'll have to see who gets second and also keep in mind that in the Iowa caucus, like you don't necessarily have to win the Iowa caucus to be president because in the 2020 election, for example, in the Democratic primaries, Buttigieg won the Iowa caucus, but he ended up losing, obviously, in the primaries to Joe Biden. So you have to keep an eye on this one. Okay, so yeah, a lot of votes still left in Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, and Sioux City. I'm not sure where each of these parties are. I'm not familiar with the Iowa counties. Yeah.
Uh, I believe that Polk is like all the way to the east, so I believe it's like near Sioux City, I guess, like all the way over there. I believe one of them is, and I believe that's like a very evangelical county. So here's how it works for the Republicans here. So for the Republican caucus, whoever wins the evangelical vote technically wins the state because Republican evangelicals are 60% of the Republican registered voters in the state. So if you win evangelical voters in Iowa, you win the primary.
But Trump hasn't been doing particularly well with evangelicals so far. I know that's where a lot of success came from in the 2016 and even 2020 elections. But this time around, it's not looking like he's been as successful with them.
Maybe, but also President Trump has like a very good appeal to those rural voters. Like even if they may be evangelicals, he just has like that touch with rural voters rather than those in urban areas, which makes sense why he's losing like two suburbs to Nikki Haley. Like Nikki Haley is winning, I believe, two suburb cities over there. The one that is up of the Des Moines and the other one in Davenport.
Yeah,
So it
kind of
makes
there.
sense. He's very bad with this. He posed very bad with suburbs, but he posed very well with rural voters, and it's Iowa, so makes sense.
Yeah, like I wouldn't imagine that I would like in an urban area like New York, New Jersey, I wouldn't count on Trump being able to win because those are at least not do very well there because those two are kind of more urban states. I mean, New Jersey probably because New York, you have all of upstate New York in the middle of New York. Um, but yeah, and again, like Ron DeSantis and Haley, they're kind of flip-flopping. We'll have to check in later and see how they're doing. But yeah, Trump, 55% reported votes. Nikki Haley, 17%, Ron DeSantis, 19. But this is in reported vote share. Vivek Ramaswamy, not doing very good. He hasn't been doing he had a little bit of popularity context. He had a bit of popularity earlier on because he was kind of a firebrand and like a outsider, kind of the same appeal to Trump. But he kind of, I guess, came off as pretty conspiratorial and he kind of lost a lot of credibility in this primary. Yeah.
I think it'll be
Ryan.
important. You go ahead, Hobby.
Oh no, I was just gonna say Ryan Binkley, 1% of the vote. He's going nowhere.
It'll be interesting to see what the future of each of the other candidates aside from Trump will be after the Republican primaries.
Yeah, that would be an interesting question to ponder. I know that see, the thing is, I know Haley was in her position administration was ambassador to the UN, but Haley has made her position on foreign affairs very clear. And she's kind of like a foreign policy hawk in stark opposition to Trump's more like isolationist kind of foreign policy approach. So in regards to like a foreign policy situation, I don't know if Trump is gonna have Nikki Haley in her cabinet or in his position as a UN ambassador.
I think he will be forced to. I don't know if you guys read some posts, but half of voters, like half of the voters of Nikki Haley in Iowa, would vote for the Democrats over President Trump. So it means that if President Trump gets the nomination, half of the votes of the second place, which is Nikki Haley, would go for the Democrats, and that would help Biden get reelected for 4 more years. So President Trump will be forced, if he wins the nomination, to appoint Nikki Haley to the UN or another position in the government if he were to win, because he needs those Nikki Haley votes.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I read that post. I think it was on the Hill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that was very interesting. And also, yeah, I just found that out on the Hill. It was 43%, I think it was. That was pretty surprising for me when I found out because I wouldn't have expected that many of Nikki Haley's voters to actually like choose Biden over Trump were it to come to those two in the general election.
Yeah. What do you think will happen to people like Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, and some of the others that were in the primary but no longer are, such as Chris Christie?
I think that Chris Christie's votes will go to Haley in New Hampshire, and she has a very good shot at actually winning New Hampshire. I believe that she could beat Trump in New Hampshire, like the next state, because Chris Christie dropped out. So there's still like a 22% of Republicans that are like never Trump voters or something that are choosing like people like Haley and Christie. But since Christie dropped out, those voters, I believe, will be translated to Haley. So I believe that Haley has a very good shot at winning New Hampshire, or at least making it very close.
Yeah, and then I guess I also heard that in Nevada, Trump can't make it on the ballot because he didn't fill out the paperwork or something. So in that's kind of a bit of a blunder for the Trump campaign and to like
Yes.
not fill out the paperwork in Nevada.
It wasn't
Oh
like some of
man.
the other states where he was being kicked off the ballot as a result of his role in the January 6th insurrection.
Yeah, no, so it was just not filling out the paperwork apparently. So yeah, I wonder who would win in the Nevada primary. It probably would be Haley, I'd imagine, but I'm not too sure. See, so yeah, forecasting second place. So, Trump clearly won the Iowa caucus, but according to this, it's like a 58% chance that Haley wins second place, which it looks pretty good for her considering the her shot against DeSantis and Ramaswamy and Binkley practically amount to nothing in this primary. New update. Okay, Nikki Haley's back in third place. Yeah, it's gonna keep flipping between those two, like for as long as it's being called. Um, oh, surprisingly, Vic Ramaswamy is still cracking almost 8% of the vote. See, Asa Hutchinson. I wonder why Asa Hutchinson like he hasn't dropped out because like he's been like not noticeable at all. He's kind of like uh he's kind of like how what's her name Tulsi Gabbard was in the 2020 primary. She just like stuck around and like didn't like get any votes or anything. Like that's surprising. Still for the rest of the night, a lot of votes coming in from whatever this city is. I don't know, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Des Moines, Sioux City, and whatever this is. Well, actually, I think this might be like Grand Rapids or something, or maybe that is. I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess that's going. I guess do we have any like other things you have to say about the caucus or anything like that?
It'll be interesting to see who Trump's running mate is.
Yeah, I've heard that it might be what's her name? It might be Christine Nome. I've heard some speculation about that. That I'm not sure if that will have any influence on suburban women because since Christine Nome is would be a female vice president. I'm not sure how that would impact the suburban women vote, but we'll have to see by then.
Yeah, I also think that it's going to be Kristi Noem because she's like the more when you choose a running mate, you want to choose somebody that is going to complement you, like going to attract a certain type of voters that you can't attract. President Trump is very good at attracting rural voters, but that wasn't enough to win in 2020. So he needs to take those suburban voters back. And I believe that Kristi Noem is the right person. I believe it would be wise for him to choose her, and I believe he will. Now, talking about the other candidates in this race, I believe that at the end it will be between Vivek Ramaswamy. If he does drop out, he's going to endorse Trump. I think if he does drop out, because he just like he literally looks like a conspiracy theorist right now. He doesn't look. I can't take him seriously anymore. So it looks like it's going to be at the end between President Trump, Governor DeSantis, and former Ambassador Nikki Haley. But the thing is, DeSantis, I believe that he will end up being in third place. Right now, the real fight is to become a second place. So in the other states, any other candidate can do like a higher like punch against President Trump in terms of voters. So I think that DeSantis will go into third place and Nikki Haley will be end up in second place. That's my prediction. She will get second place.
Yeah, so that because again, like it looks good for because I don't see any counties in which Ron DeSantis has won a majority, but again, these suburban ones looking very good for him. Let's see, what's it called? Real no 270. That's what it is.
530, 270 to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the interactive map. 538 is like the polling.
Yes.
Okay, so just moving on to like the kind of predictions and for the race. So again, they still haven't had a official name, but right now, like this is what it looks like for the chances. So the hard blue states are the ones that definitely is no contest that the Democrats are going to win. You go lighter, it's like a likely a Democrat, and then New Hampshire is kind of a lean Democrat, and then again, all these key states here, the ones in gray, there are beige. They are the toss-up states, so we don't know where they're going to go.
Hmm.
So again, like I'm not sure what let's see. Does it have polls for each state? Maybe that might be in 538. So let's see. Not this one. President. Oh, they have different polls. So for presidential election, move this. So if it was between Biden and Haley, Haley is going to win 8 points. Like she's going to like demolish Biden if she's the front runner. Again, like, but based on how well Trump is doing, how enthusiastic the Trump voters are, I don't know if Haley's going to end up being the front runner. But if she was, then she would absolutely trounce Biden in the general election. And actually, well, this is the most recent polls. So if it was, DeSantis, with 3 points ahead, Trump 2 points, but it's these two in this case are very like close elections. So give it time, and you could see a change in between these votes. And this was all done by CBS News. Different polls have Biden ahead of Trump by 4 points. January 9th, YouGov by The Economist, even out. Rasmussen had Biden ahead. They had DeSantis ahead at one point. They had Trump ahead at one point, even. So it's a very close polling as of this point. But what kind of worries me about the polls is that the amount of people that are, going to vote for a third party or going to vote for, the activists on the left that are disillusioned with Biden about the Middle East, they're going to go to Cornell West, or they're going to abstain from voting for Biden, and it's going to like throw a bone to whoever Joe Biden's eventual opponent is. So you definitely see a lot of angry young voters who are left, and they, I guess, don't want to vote for Biden.
What should Biden do to attract those voters back to his campaign?
I guess, I mean, I'm not too sure because he's already been like, I mean, he's been kind of frustrated with Netanyahu in the Middle East, and he's been kind of been pressuring Netanyahu to, let aid in and all that. But these voters, the young voters, they're not terribly bright, I would say. And they, even if Biden does all the, even if Biden does all this, even if he does everything to like send all the aid in for Gaza, they're still going to be mad at him for, the student loans or the Houthis, which are like the Yemeni terrorist group or something. They're going to be mad at him for that. And they're going to be mad at anything else. So, are they going to be mad at him because he didn't do his promises or anything like that? So I don't really see an option in how, these super pissed off activists or whatever, I don't see how they're going to be won back to Biden. is there anything you guys like can see like how he might be able to stem this going to like third party or anything like that?
I mean, a third party would be a wild card. I don't know, like if RFK gets like a lot of traction or something and becomes like the only third party, it would make a mess. I don't know who would help, President Trump or Biden. So it would be very hard to analyze a strong third party wild card. Like I don't know who it would affect more. But talking about just between Biden and Trump, I believe that Biden's biggest mistake was when he won, people expected a lot about him. So when he doesn't match the expectations, people disapprove of him. In contrast, when Trump took office, people didn't expect anything from him. And when he did some things, he got like a lot of applause. So I think that he can do to regain certain types of voters would be to just like use like the scary strategies. He could be like the democracy is in danger. If the Republicans win, we will not have a democracy anymore. Like those types of messaging can like get young people to go out and vote. That doesn't mean they will vote for him though. Like I was reading some posts the other day, and it shows that young Hispanics are leaning to the right, and that could really affect Biden in states like Florida and Texas.
Yeah, that
One thing I also want to elaborate is on how Biden's campaigning and the strategies he's utilizing. I think he could potentially create new campaign content and campaign advertising content that's geared directly toward young voters, and also change the ways that he interacts with voters. Perhaps young voters want to see him act more genuinely and be more genuinely himself, and maybe he could do that by holding perhaps less rallies and more, maybe small group town halls.
yeah, that would be interesting. And then also, I don't know if you guys, but like Taylor Swift has been very instrumental in like, getting out people to vote. Yeah, I'm not sure, but though I don't know, it could be a double-edged sword because, like, on the one hand, if Biden and Taylor Swift were to do an event together, that potentially would get people to like start voting for Biden. But there's plenty of fans who are like overlap with these activist types, and they're going to be like, I can't believe my favorite musician supports action in the Middle East or whatever. I can't believe that. So then that's just a double-edged sword. And again, it's a little early for endorsements to start piling in. So we'll have to see.
And I think if Biden does choose to campaign with entertainers, he shouldn't just do it with one entertainer specifically. He shouldn't, like, for example, he shouldn't just do it with Taylor Swift. I think he needs to interact with more individuals.
Yeah, that definitely, like, actors in Hollywood and other singers and I guess social media influencers or something like that. That could definitely expand his outreach.
Yeah, it should definitely be ones you can. It should definitely be a mixed bag as to who they can specifically reach out to. For example, Taylor Swift's probably more likely to be successful in gaining female voters and non-binary voters for Biden than male voters. Biden will need to also do some campaigning with some influencers that attract more male voters without losing female and non-binary voters that are young.
I don't know if the strategy of campaigning with superstars in Hollywood would not be a burn site at the end. Remember Hillary Clinton in 2016? She was like with all of these Hollywood stars. But the thing is, when you campaign like that, you don't look like somebody from the people. You look somebody like from the elites. And you don't want to look like somebody from the elites, or else the majority of the American population, which is not elite, like those truck drivers in the South, like in Julian, Borrego Springs, those farmers are not going to vote for somebody that is just like we would surrounded with Hollywood stars. For example, I saw a video of President Trump buying some pizza in Iowa and giving that pizza to like a fire station or something. That doesn't sound like a very good like big campaign event. But the point is, when you surround yourself with Hollywood stars, you look like somebody from the elite, not somebody from that understands the people. So that it can also backfire.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know that Biden has a good campaign strategies he's done is like position himself with like union workers. And so because again his dad was a car salesman, so it's a very common background. So if Biden is able to like campaign with unions and like the railroad unions or the just groups like the trades like that, like that's gonna appeal to his to the working class voters if the unions are behind him.
That could be that could be a key aspect if he were to win. But like those unions can help him win Pennsylvania for sure and Michigan. The thing is though, there are certain groups, interest groups like for the environment and stuff that he better not align himself that much, at least during the election season. So he doesn't lose certain like the working class voters, like truck drivers, for example. Their biggest concern is the economy, not being able to afford groceries, not climate change. If we talk about states in the South, like Georgia, that it can backfire if you align yourself with certain interest groups, like the environment. But it's true, like the unions are very popular, so that would be an interest group that is worth campaigning with.
Yeah,
that's
good. Yeah, and I think the union strategy will work for Biden, particularly with a lot of anti-corporate sentiment in the United States. The two things Biden should be wary about by doing this, however, is one, the term Bidenomics, which Biden is associating with economic policy that supposedly helps the middle class and union workers. That term Bidenomics is not popular among Americans. It's not resonating among them. Also, Biden needs to make sure that his connections with unions are primarily based around union workers, not necessarily union bosses, because that could give off an image of Biden being an elitist, a little bit different than being an elitist by campaigning with Hollywood stars, but still could show that Biden's a bit of an institutionalist, not necessarily somebody who campaigns for the working person.
Yeah, that's good points to make. I just pulled up the Pennsylvania polls, and I don't know the recent ones for a general election. They had Biden's in the lead. One of them had Trump and +1, Haley +5. But in most it says well, in most cases, well, except for this one, but a lot of polls still have Biden narrowly ahead if it was Trump, but still ahead. So perhaps Pennsylvania will continue trending this way, and Biden may win Pennsylvania again. Let's check Michigan. Yeah, Biden, Trump, Biden +4. Well, that's a bit of a strange poll because Newsom versus Trump. That's a bit of a strange polling.
Yeah,
maybe in a good hypothetical, like a what if scenario, but no. Yeah, earlier in this month, Trump pulls ahead. But yeah, maybe if things continue to trend the way they are, perhaps Biden will be able to pull ahead in Michigan.
I'm not sure about Wisconsin. There are 3 states that I'm not sure how that could decide the outcome. And the states that I'm thinking about are Wisconsin, Georgia, and Nevada. And the reason why I chose those 3 states, guys, is because in the 2022 midterms, those 3 states did split voting. Remember that in Wisconsin, the Democratic governor got reelected, but the incumbent senator that was a Republican got reelected. So a Democrat and a Republican won in the same ballot in Wisconsin, remember?
Yeah.
And also in Georgia, Republican Brian Kemp got reelected, but Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock also got reelected. And also, if we go to Nevada, I believe incumbent senator that is a Democrat got reelected, but the incumbent Democratic governor lost to a Republican. So those 3 states did split voting, like either a Republican won in the governorship, but a Democrat won in the Senate, or vice versa. So those 3 states, I believe, are going to be the closest.
What about Arizona?
I believe Biden wins Arizona. Because the Democrats won the Senate race in Arizona and the governorship. like both of them. So I believe that Arizona goes to the Democrats. But I'm not sure about Wisconsin, Georgia, and Nevada.
Yeah. Yeah, that was all interesting to see. We'll have to check in later on. Oh, okay, so still kind of the same like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
although
that.
yeah,
Haley now has 3 counties. Nikki Haley has 3 counties now.
yeah, and I guess all of them are kind of like suburban. Oh, she's ahead in Des Moines in the county of Des Moines.
Well, I mean, it's more urban, and those voters tend to be more anti-Trump.
Yeah, yeah. Sad thing is I do have to like head to dinner in a little bit, but yeah,
Like likewise, but I do want to note that Ron DeSantis is second place in the Iowa caucus, and yet he hasn't won a single county to his name. So where are all the votes coming from for him?
that's interesting because I would you'd think that with this much maybe in the counties where Trump is or Haley is perhaps they're split but slightly more in favor of Haley or something.
I'm not sure because the thing is, DeSantis voters are at the same time Trump voters to an extent, but Nikki Haley's voters are not Trump voters. They're Republicans, but they're not Trump voters. So, for example, I expect DeSantis supporters to go for President Trump, like in a transaction. Like if DeSantis drops out, those voters go for President Trump. I believe. I don't know where DeSantis voters are coming from. Like I know Trump has a rural base, and I know that Nikki Haley, her voters are anti-Trump Republicans. I just don't know which type of people support Governor DeSantis. Trump Republicans or anti-Trump Republicans or those in the middle?
Yeah, we'll have to that's an interesting area to make because that would determine how the counties play out.
Well, I think it's fair to say that Ron DeSantis campaigns on having a wants to have a Trumpian attitude, wants to be seen as having a Trumpian attitude, and perhaps having policies that are further to the right of Trump. However, he just comes off as more of a technocrat and isn't able to have the Trumpian personality that a lot of Trump voters want in a candidate.
Yeah. With that, I guess do you have any final things about the election and like the presidential election in the end? Just some final thoughts.
Sure, abortion.
It's a very, very big campaign. It is a very big thing issue to in this election. Definitely will be brought up.
So what are your predictions, guys? Who do you think will be second place? My guess is going to be Nikki Haley at the end. I believe that Nikki Haley will end up being second place in Iowa.
Yeah, same because again with all the if Trump and DeSantis are essentially the same voter and it's going to kind of they're kind of going to be more found in the rural counties, but a sizable portion perhaps enough to get Nikki Haley in second place are going to come from the suburbs. So they're going to be kind of in their own field, and they're going to be choosing Haley in the suburbs. Enough votes to maybe put Haley over the edge of over DeSantis.
Yeah.
I would probably say Nikki Haley's going to be second place for the reasons you give. And it'll be also important to see what the Republican policy on abortion is and what impact that'll have within the Iowa caucus. It's pretty clear it won't affect former President Trump, but it could make the deal, it could seal the deal as to whether DeSantis is second place or whether Haley is second place.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop sharing this. But yeah, with all that in mind, it's gonna be a tough race for, to find out who's second place. But I think ultimately, Trump is still going to maintain the front runner status. Yeah, I guess if what was Andrew, was that
No, I didn't have anything else to comment.
okay?
I believe that the second place will be very important for whoever becomes first place. Like if Trump wins the nomination, he will have to like make peace with Haley. So the Haley voters go to him and not to Biden. Because we know that if DeSantis loses, if Vivek Ramaswamy loses, like all those votes will go for the Republican nominee regardless, except Haley's. I believe that Haley voters are like those like center right, like to the center of the Republican Party. So if whoever wins the nomination has to make a pact with the center right, with the establishment Republicans like Nikki Haley, if he wants to win the general election.
Yeah, definitely. Just have to see how it all plays out in the polling and how the primaries play out. But yeah, with that, I guess we kind of talked about the recent elections and all that.
All right.
Yeah, so we hope you like our coverage so far, and I guess we're gonna see what the next election is. I think Bangladesh, I think, is one of the next ones.
Yeah, and also Republican primaries and Democratic primaries. If anything
Yeah,
unexpected happens in Democratic primaries.
definitely. If there anything unexpected happens, we will be covering it. But I think for the most part, it's no contest. Biden is gonna, sweep the counties, states that are up for primaries. Yeah, I guess this is the end of our little episode. So hope you viewers liked it. We'll definitely be posting this on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's I guess that's it.
Perfect.
I'm
We did a
going
very good coverage about
Yep.
the Iowa Caucus and the Taiwanese election today.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, I'm gonna record and stop